Glad you're here, Libra Rising. We are talking about the astrology of February in this video. Trust you're doing well. We're going to talk about the lunations. So there's a full moon in February and a new moon. We also have your ruling planet Venus on the move, ingressing into a different zodiac sign. We're going to discuss what that means for your rising sign in this video. We're going to cover that transit. And the most active planet in the month of February is Mercury. And Mercury is our mind. It's our communication styles. Mercury is a social planet. It's intellectual. It likes to move around. It likes to travel. And Mercury also is connected to commerce. Mercury, merchants, mercantile. So finance is also indicated by Mercury. And with Mercury as the key protagonist, that planet for the month of February, everyone around us, within us, outside of us, events become very mercurial in the month of February. So expect a lot of mental action going on, lots to digest, lots of intel, lots of information, research, data, logistics, documents, paperwork, books, media. We are all going to be exacerbated, if you will, because Mercury is so active in the month of February. So a heads up there. You too will be feeling this transit, as will everyone else. And I mention this because you're going to you're going to witness a lot of banter, a lot of activity, a lot of mercurial activity. And it's not coming within you, it's coming outside of you. Like emails, texts, phone calls. You get the picture. It's a lot. So that is the flavor of the month of February. Expect a lot of activity because of Mercury's transits and alignments and aspects with other planets throughout the month. So let's get into your astrology. I trust you're doing well out there, guys. And we're going to talk about the astrology in a chronological order. So I'm going to take you through some dates that I think will be of interest to you. And if you are a lover of following the planetary cycles, then you're going to get some important information here about what your rising sign can expect for the month. With that said, Libra rising, let's get into it. On the 4th, your ruling planet Venus ingresses into Aries. So your ruling planet Venus has a big dignity shift. In short, she's been in the zodiac sign of Pisces, where she's exalted in a zodiac sign that is conducive to her nature. She feels very comfortable here. And when she ingresses into Aries, in detriment, the dignity of her comfort zone changes significantly and becomes more martial. Mars is the ruler of Aries, and Venus is in Mars's temple. Aries is the zodiac sign that is the temple of Mars. And this is your 7th house Libra rising. So when your ruling planet steps into that feisty, combative, passionate Mars zodiac sign of Aries, your 7th house, you can expect relationships and agreements to be on your table, but with a hint of chili. So you might be trying to, from the 4th of February, doing your very best to be the peacekeeper amongst your partnerships, any contracts or agreements that you have. You could be trying to do your very best to steer and commandeer people into your way of thinking or processing when it comes to conflict amongst relationships and agreements. So you might be just the tonic, if you will, that people may need to settle down their nervous systems or calm them down, because the relationships and agreements around you could be exacerbated with this transit. And because you're a ruling planet that rules you, Libra rising, you're all up in it. So do your very best to, at the very least, let people express what they need to express, which I'm sure you will, but be an intelligent sounding board for them. Give them options other than, oh, I'm going to tear up the contract, or I'm leaving the relationship and that's the end of it and I'm not going to tell them. You might be more of a sage and soothe them with your words and saying, maybe think about some things before you take some rash action. And that would be well advised for yourself as well when Venus steps into your 7th house of Aries. Don't be too quick to shoot from the hip and pull that trigger when it comes to signing on the dotted line, shaking your hand, and put a ring on it as well when it comes to relationships or contracts and agreements. Know the logistics and the terrain before you anchor into anything long term is well advised. Libra rising with Venus in Aries, your 7th house. And on the same day, on the 4th, Jupiter goes direct in Gemini, and that's in a part of your chart that's your 9th house. So Jupiter now stationing direct is very impactful for all of us. It's one of the slowest moving planets that we have. And with Jupiter now going direct instead of retrograde, Jupiter is able to be benefic and open up everyone's gift baskets more organically. So the gift of Jupiter retrograde is rethinking structures, being more aware of how you need to work in the lines with morals and ethics and rules and society, the bigger picture of life. And Jupiter direct in Gemini, moving forward from the 4th, is fantastic for pinpointing what it is that you want to direct your energy towards and where you can find some real resources and riches for yourself when it comes to things that are foreign people, places and faces, higher education, philosophy, your spiritual path. What are your beliefs? What are your values? Maybe you can consider university, a community college, higher education, where you can expand the mind, body, spirit, and soul. That's the 9th house. So Jupiter direct now is a beneficial shift for all of us, but for you in your 9th house, it is about connecting to the bigger pictures in your life more organically. And there's riches and there's experience, and you can learn from these 9th house topics more organically and at least come to peace with being aware of the differences that you inherently have compared to the outside world, and maybe coming to peace with that. So you might not be so bullish when it comes to a philosophy. You might have had time to rethink some bigger things and themes in your life while Jupiter has been retrograde. But moving forward, it's quite positive. Moving on to the 10th to the 12th of the month, we have Mercury conjunct the Sun in Aquarius, whilst squaring Uranus in Taurus. So these 2 days of the month, Libra rising, is interesting with the planetary alignments, and it's here comes Mercury to really start kicking up some dust for us, to really get us stewing over and contemplating ideologies about our lives. And the ideologies about your life with Mercury's conjunct the Sun is all to do with Libra rising, your 5th house. Aquarius is your 5th house. And the 5th house is where we get our adrenaline pumping, where we seek joy and pleasure. And that is with relationships, be it intimate partnerships, sex, children, the topics of children. It's the house of where we enjoy hobbies. They can be sports, they can be swimming, they can be art. But you get the picture. The 5th house is where we have hobbies and we let our freak flag fly. We let our imagination fly and we just go with our artistic flow. And it's also the house to do with things connected to entrepreneurial pursuits, like your own side hustle, what you like to do in regards to your mainstream income. You might have something else that you do creatively that's just your own little baby, that you might have a market, you might do something online. And that is very entrepreneurial. And you in Aquarius, it's about the collective, excuse me. Everyone can benefit, and there's plenty of people that you can pitch and market to. So with the Sun and Mercury coming into a conjunction, there's new ideas brewing. Could be financial things and how other people's resources are all tied up into this new financial idea, because Mercury and the Sun are squaring Uranus in your 8th house of finance. So there's an idea, or at least a conversation going on connected to the 5th house topics, but it's the conflicts coming from Uranus, which is in your 8th house of debt, tax, inheritance, shared resources, other people's finances. That could be stocks, that could be a partner, be it business or intimate. But the tension here, even though this might be a good idea, this conversation's up for grabs between the 10th and the 12th about your 5th house and those topics and subjects we just talked about. All intentions are well, but because it is Mercury, the planet of intellect and ideas and travel and money, squaring off to Uranus in the house of money, this new idea is going to cost you money, or it's going to need a bit of a leg up, and that may be seeked out through other people's resources to help you get off the ground with an idea that you have. Mercury, idea, mental concepts, thoughts. And if you have an idea or conversation and a clash of values about your future connected to those 5th house topics, this will be the day to get into an argument. So do your very best, Libra rising, now that Venus, is transiting in Aries in your 7th house of other people, agreements and relationships. If you're trying to bring people around to your side of the fence, then the 10th to the 12th can be a difficult day, and it could be because of a financial difference. So easy does it between the 10th and the 12th. The next day on the 13th, we have a full moon in Leo. Who doesn't love a full moon in Leo? Well, if you're fairly new to astrology, a full moon is where the moon is peaking in its moon cycle. It's as bright and as big as it's going to get when it's in its full moon phase. And it is the full expression of what has been learnt to date from the beginning of the new moon cycle that happened in January. And that new moon in January was in the zodiac sign of Aquarius. And Aquarius is your 5th house that we've just been talking about, where Mercury and the Sun conjunct and squares Uranus. So when you have a full moon the next day in Leo, in your 11th house, it's reflecting that Sun in Aquarius, where that new moon began. So this full moon, where you have a full expression, the full moon, it's as big as it can get, and it's a full-on expression from the heart. It is Leo. It is a very passionate expression. And the full moon in Leo, as big as it can get, is you've come so far. So because it is your 11th house, what you could be possibly dealing with, if you will, in a practical manner when we're talking about astrology and transits and lunations, Libra risers, you've come as far as you can with a friendship or a social connection or a professional alliance. This also could be a dream or a goal that you have for yourself. It's like, this is what I really want, and then potentially the couple of days before, between the 10th and the 12th, you had a typical conversation, things didn't quite work out, and this full moon in Leo, or at least if it didn't work out, maybe there was a agreement between you and the other party that they need to sit on it, and on the 13th you get a response. But either way, it's either, yes, we can help you creatively do what you want to do, where you want to go, whatever it is that you want to accomplish with those 5th house topics of entrepreneurship, your hobbies, intimate partnerships, children. We can help you with those topics or subjects. This could be friends, social connections, or professional alliances. Or, we can't help you here. And that can be quite a passionate reaction that you may be experiencing from the people telling you the news. Whether it's positive or negative, it'll be different for everyone. It depends on your own natal chart. If you have any planets at 24 degrees of Leo, that may give you a more holistic understanding of what you're dealing with when it comes to a release and an understanding of this is as far as we can go. So interesting full moon for you, Libra rising, with a Leo at 24 degrees in your 11th house on the 13th. Then the next day on the 14th, Mercury now leaves your 5th house of Aquarius and ingresses into Pisces, where your ruling planet Venus was transiting. In the 6th house of work, health, services, labor, sickness, and illness. It's not all fun with houses. We all have them. And it's also the house of pets. So when Mercury ingresses into Pisces from the 14th for the rest of the month, Mercury is in a zodiac sign where it's in fall and in detriment, whereas your ruling planet Venus is exalted here. Couldn't be happier. But now we have our personal planet Mercury stepping in a zodiac sign that's basically going to sulk. What can this mean for Libra risings? This may feel like all the good work you've done with your ruling planet Venus transiting through Pisces in the 6th house may come undone, may start to unravel, because Mercury can be very emotionally confused and not be really good with details. The communication can go awry. Things can be hazy and confusing when it comes to exchanges with money, logistics, paperwork, communication, travel plans. You get the picture. So all that good work and all the hard work you've possibly been doing, when Mercury steps into Pisces, it could just become extremely emotionally draining and overwhelming. So this may mean that there's some tidying up to do. All is not really sealed and tied up with a red bow. So deep breaths when Mercury steps into your 6th house on the 14th of February. On the 18th, the Sun ingresses into Pisces, your 6th house, and this is for 4 weeks. The Sun transits in Pisces the same time every year for 4 weeks. So if you think about all of the action going on in your 6th house as a Libra rising, well, for you, you have the North Node in Pisces, you have Neptune in Pisces, you have Saturn in Pisces, you have Mercury in Pisces, and now the Sun turns up in Pisces. So that's a lot of activity going on in your 6th house of work, health, services, sickness, labor, and pets. But when the Sun turns up from the 18th for 4 weeks, you can at least identify the idealism, the optimism of your situation regarding those 6th house topics. So you do have Mercury that's not coping well. That could be going, oh, I don't understand. And then the Sun steps in and goes and shines a light on some things. And Mercury goes, oh, I see. I understand. All is not confusing. I just needed a little bit of clarity and understanding. So when the Sun steps into your 6th house for 4 weeks, this is a good sign that maybe all the work that you've done with your ruling planet Venus transiting in Pisces in her exaltation wasn't in vain. The Sun's certainly going to pick up the slack, so that's great. On the 24th, planet Mars goes direct in Cancer, and this is at 17 degrees. So again, you know your natal chart, if you have any planets at 17 degrees of Cancer, this is Mars now stationing to go direct. Good news for all of us, just like Jupiter going direct. Good news for all of us, because Mars and Jupiter are slower planets. So when we've got planets that are in retrograde, it's, you're doing all of the planets archetypal natural things, but in a different way than it normally would when it's forward in direct motion. So that's good news when planets go direct. So with Mars direct in Cancer now in your 10th house on the 24th of February, for Libra risings, maybe you have created a new strategy. You've become maybe a little bit more forceful in regards to aggressively pursuing what it is when it comes to your career, your public name, working with superiors, and what it is that you want to do when it comes to your professional life. So Mars is direct, so you might be ready, because Mars is about cutting things down, elimination, also severing ties. So now that Mars is direct, you might be thinking of ending a career or the way you are presented in public. So it's great for rebranding, marketing yourself with Mars, with bold abandonment, and really just doing what you need to do to get ahead. And Mars can also have you feeling like, I want to go in a different direction. I want to be more entrepreneurial. So that could be something that's you could be ruminating about those the 10th house topics in a martial way now that Mars goes direct in your 10th house. It might be time for a change in your job title, your title, or what you do when it comes to your lofty, ambitious goals, Libra rising. Mars direct certainly gives you an eye for a prize. Then on the 25th, we have Mercury conjunct Saturn. So earlier in the month, Mercury conjunct the Sun in your 5th house, squaring Uranus. And now Mercury on the 25th conjuncts Saturn in Pisces' 6th house. And on the same day, Venus sextiles Jupiter, your ruling planet, is playing nice with Jupiter. This is the two benefics agreeing on the same day as this Mercury-Saturn conjunction. So let's talk about what this means for you, Libra rising, through the lens of astrology and the archetypes of the planets. When Mercury and Saturn conjunct, this can be a day of sobering news or a mature decision. So you may get some communication about work, health, services, pets, or your own health. So this could be where you go, oh, I finally get the information, I understand what I'm doing, or you have a conversation that really changes those 6th house topics and dynamics. You may also lose a pet, and that can be a real possibility with Mercury conjunct Saturn in the 6th house of pets. Venus in Aries sextile Jupiter. This at the same time, there's quite such a somber, mature decisions going on the 25th for you, Libra risings. But at the same day, we have Venus, your ruling planet, sextiling Jupiter. So whilst that's a very, this has to happen, or this is, where I'm going, this is the best thing for me. When it comes to work, health, services, labor, sickness, pets, your ruling planet is seeing the bigger picture about life. So this is about, I need to be able to be okay to move in a different direction. So Jupiter direct now as well. You might have been contemplating such things as those 9th house topics, spirituality, education, travel, etc. And when your ruling planet Venus sextiles Jupiter on the same day, it's easier for you to pursue what it is that you love, start a new spiritual practice, book that holiday, get into education, expand your horizons, move more. So you might be signing on the dotted line on the 25th as well, making some very firm connections and agreements on the 25th. And it's because I think with your ruling planet in Aries sextile in Jupiter, you're ready to go the distance in the 9th house, which is changing up the way you think about life in the bigger scope. So really, for better words, quite a certain concrete day, high highs, low lows, but you can handle it. And we're all going through it on the same day as well. You're not the only one, Libra rising, dealing with the 25th of February. So if everything's going smooth guns for you, which I sincerely trust they are, just be aware there may be some interesting news or events going on around you with that Mercury-Saturn conjunction that can be a little, for better words, sobering, very sobering. On the 28th, we have a new moon in Pisces, your 6th house. And you can see that this stellium is 3 or more planets in one zodiac sign. And the moon's here now. So the moon's shown up on the 28th. So you got Saturn, Neptune, Moon, Sun, Mercury, and the North Node, all in your 6th house. So this indicates for the Libra risings, this is where the concentration is for you for the month, and has a lot to do with Mercury, because Mercury is very active as well. So a new moon in Pisces, this is beautiful. It's starting a new contract, a new health regime, taking on a new service, connecting with a new service. You might be ready to finally get on top of an ailment, if at all you have one. You also might be thinking, oh, it's time to get a new pet. A new moon in Pisces is quiet, it's relaxing, it's loving, it's nurturing. So whatever you're beginning in your sixth house, it's going to grow and grow and grow in energy with this new moon. And we are talking about the full moon next month in March. So in a couple of weeks, you'll see some results of what you are beginning on the 28th in Pisces, when you'll have that full moon in Virgo in March. I actually believe that's an eclipse, if I remember correctly. Apologies in advance if I've got that wrong. But this new moon in Pisces is all about just tuning into your emotional body and what feels good to you in regards to those six house topics. What do you want to begin? Is it a new uh, health guru, or do you want to start yoga? Do you want to start putting yourself out there and provide some services? Maybe something did happen when you wanted to get some financial assistance or get someone on board with you when you can finally start providing services. But either way, this moon in Pisces, this new beginning is about love and compassion and caring. And I think that's a wonderful new moon for all of us. But in your sixth house, it's about a full-on expression of caring from the heart, mind, body, spirit, and soul. The moon is very embodied. It's a new moon, so it's quiet. So you're about to launch something in that sixth house, and you're all emotionally and passionately engaged with it. So lovely, Libra rising. So that's your astrology for the month of February. Trust you have yourself a great month, and happy Valentine's Day for all the Valentines out there who celebrated on the 14th. And I will be catching you next time, Libra Rising, should you come hang with your Cosmic Girl 101. Until next time, stay cosmic.